Welcome to Take 10. Did you know back years ago, some 40 years ago, when we started working in foreign countries, it took so long to get a message, a letter, and if you got a telephone call, someone spent genuine heavy dollars calling you. And well, budgets didn't allow us just to call them. It was easy to look at what was going on. But today, with all the social media, you instantly hear what people want to tell you. They don't tell you of the hard times. They don't tell you of the tough times. They don't tell you of those little actions and things that happen that you think you've outgrown. And so in the self-check today, we're talking on Take 10 about being truly great and coming to a place, because what's happening in social media is that everybody only shows you the perspective they want you to see. And it's very easy for you to say, I'm not doing nothing. Look at this little thing I'm fooling with. Look at what I can't get ahead for the life of me. Friend, don't believe everything you read and see from folks. And don't discredit them for making those wonderful posts about the wonderful blessings of God that are coming to them. You have your own self to keep in control. When you see them celebrating big buildings, remember they're also celebrating big bills. And when you see them celebrating this and that and the other, also remember they're celebrating this and that and the other on the other side. We all have our little children. We all have those things we have to attend to that we feel like we have grown out of. And we feel like we should not have to do that. But listen, serving others, you will never grow out of that. And if you don't have things in your life that calls for serving others, you will not please the Father. You will come to a place, well, you may get rich in this world's goods, and you may just be like a Saudi billionaire. But in your heart, you will not be satisfied, because service, when you've been called by God, service is what satisfies your inner man and satisfies God. So remember what he said, anyone who welcomes a little child like this, he had a little child on his lap talking to the disciples. They didn't want to tell him what they had been talking about on the road, because they were trying to say who was going to be the greatest, who had the biggest church, who had the biggest nonprofit, who was doing this, who was doing that, who was doing the other. He just took a little child, put him on his lap and said, look, remember, whoever welcomes this little child on my behalf welcomes me. So sometimes the things you think you've outgrown, you must welcome. And when you welcome them, you're welcoming the provider and the blessings. So perhaps there's some things today you don't necessarily enjoy doing. Take the attitude of the servant. You know, I have a friend named Angel Panero, and he described it this way. He said the disciples were caught up in their constant struggle for personal success because of the political and religious systems, and they were embarrassed to answer Jesus' question. I don't think in this world we're living in, many people are embarrassed by many things whatsoever. Just take a trip to Walmart, and you'll just see that we don't really care as a nation what anybody thinks until it gets in our face. And then we wonder why they think that. These people were struggling for personal success. They were fishermen. They were doctors. They were tax collectors. They were business people who had a bottom line and a sheet of how things worked out. And now they're ministers, 3,000, 5,000 added in the same day, and all of a sudden their business mind is talking to them about how to get success in this new system. And because of the political and religious systems they had come out of, they were embarrassed to answer what Jesus was asking. What was he asking? He just said, what are you discussing? So when you're feeling like you're not getting ahead, or you're having a discussion about who's going to be greater, when is my day oh, I love that song by James Cleveland, my day will come. Wow, they took it, made a popular song out of it, and it became a non-religious song. But truly, your day comes. But we become so preoccupied with the organization of Jesus' earthly kingdom that we lose sight of its divine purpose. So instead of seeking a place of service, we seek places and positions of advantage. What am I going to do that's going to put me in advantage? Jesus encouraged the disciples to welcome the children because they were considered the least in the society. I am looking at this word children like those things we felt like we grew out of. Well, I came past that a long time ago. Listen, I'm not too good to go load a truck or even drive a truck. Even last Saturday, one of the trucks delivering food broke down, and I took my pickup and a chain, and across 3 freeways of Houston, I learned what I knew the last 35, 40 years, how to drag a truck to the dealership and put it in the yard so that this morning it would be the first in line, and we escaped a $1,000 wrecker bill for a big truck. But this is little. This is considered least in mind. Some of you'd say, Bishop, you've outgrown that. No, I had a brother in need. It was time for me to take what I know how to do. And in fact, just about 4 or 5 days earlier, I had gotten too good to have a chain in my truck. I'd had a chain in my truck for 25 or 30 years. I didn't even have a chain, so I told Jose, who works for me, many of you know him, I told Jose, get a chain and put it in my truck. So he put a chain in my truck, and guess what? I needed the chain. So was God helping me because he knows me, and he knows that I will take the little child that I don't really care to be dragging a truck across Houston under 3 freeways and down. Oh my God, can you imagine the headache of towing a big old truck to run over you in the back of you with a Chevrolet or GMC pickup? But this is considered least in my life. But I know that it's the things I consider least that turn around and bless me. Put me in the pathway today of a man in the dealership who is going to bless the kingdom. Doing this was a reminder to me to be an humble servant of God. And it's always painful to compare our motives to those of Jesus. It's not wrong. Can you imagine Jesus Christ coming from the robes of glory to come down and walk among men and people hungry and well, just let me show you how this is done. Let's break the fish, now you do it. But it's not wrong for you to compare your motives to those of Jesus. It's painful. But as you make a self-check, remember the little things, the ones that you thought you outgrew, may continually be seeds to bring your blessing and cause true greatness to come up. And I'll just say one more thing. It's not wrong for believers to be industrious or ambitious. And I'm coming back to that on the next self-check to see if we actually have that industriousness and that ambition that will push obedience and service into power and authority instead of pushing it to the side. God bless you. I'll check you next time on Take 10.